Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance and for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out after the weekend. So this is Monday. This is actually a really bad weekend. Lower quantity of stuff that's sold, lower dollar amounts. It's still like okay-ish, but it's about I would say about half of what our normal weekends are. So we were on a good trend, like on the up and up, but since Thursday, our graph on the eBay is phew, straight downhill. All right. I'm going to go into it. First thing right here is this Stutter CD right here, Elastica. I don't know anything about music. Got a bunch of CDs a long time ago, $75 for a full car full. This one's sealed. This ended up selling for $7 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping, so I'll just save us the time right now. All right, next up is going to be this Red Zone. This is I think a football, card game, board game type of thing. So I always get these interesting dead card games. I would consider this more of a board game because it doesn't have too many collectible components. I'm sure people collect some of the players and the cards there and do other stuff with them than just play this game. This ended up selling for $12.76. Even though I don't know much about sports, I do occasionally get these side products like the PC games, the board games, the card games, and I do decent with them. All right, next up is going to be an RPG book, Sword and Sorcery, Relics and Rituals. This is a hardcover book. I've had a bunch of these, probably over 20 or 30 of them. I sell them slowly. I think I have 2 left listed right now. I'm not sure in my unlisted pile how many I have right here, but this is going to help you with, I think, a side version of Dungeons and Dragons. I think it uses the same rules. I could be talking out of the side of my mouth here with the Sword and Sorcery brand. But yeah, this is just going to have a bunch of different literally relics and rituals, so different spells and stuff you can include in your game. There's a lot of cool pictures. I was trying to show you some, but doing this on the fly is harder. All right, this ended up selling for $9.48. Like I said, I have 2 others listed right now. I put them down in my notes as they're more moderately played, as a book. That one's pretty good condition. All right, next up is going to be another TSR Dungeons and Dragons. This is, how do you say this place? It's Lankmar or something, one of the cities. So you get these cool maps and stuff inside these adventures and box sets for Dungeons and Dragons. This is an older one. It says it's from 1985. I got a bunch of these D&D maps and stuff that someone didn't want anymore. This ended up selling for $26.24. People really like to complete their sets. They like to have the maps. They use them as dungeon masters to show the players where they can investigate and different actions they can take. All right, next up is going to be a book. It's been a while since we sold some books. We've sold a ton of books in general, but I want to say the past 6 months or a year, we haven't sold as many. Along the Tigris right here. Particularly, we get a bunch of the military books. This is a hardcover one. I don't know anything about this particular one, but we ended up selling it for $15. Which one? Tigris? Is that what I said? I'm actually poor at pronouncing names and stuff. I'm very uncultured, I guess, to say the least. All right. I know a lot about the nerdy stuff. Next up, we have this AEG. This is Legend of the Five Rings. This is normally what the booster box come in, but sorry, I'm holding this one upside down. Well, I guess, I put this part upside down, so I was getting confused as I was showing you guys. This one is Coils of Madness right here. So they also had these sets where you would get a play set of every single card. I wasn't too sure if this had the full play set. It was kind of hard to dig into it, so I just wrote a lot. I put a lot of 188 cards. Someone asked me if the play sets were complete. I'm I don't know. I literally took a picture of all the names so someone could just zoom in on my 3 pictures and read the name of every single card. So I wasn't sure if this was complete, but they still ended up buying it. Usually when someone asks me a question is this complete? And I go I don't know. I don't think so. Take a look at my pictures. It usually results in not a sale. So I was super surprised that they still bought it. This went to a repeat buyer for $44.62. So that's going to be a play set of cards for someone is when they have enough to play the game. So that's what they were asking and looking into. It might be 188. Like I said, I had a little struggle trying to figure that out. I still listed it. All right, next up is going to be this right here. I think this is one of the things that my brother gave me for free. He gave me a bunch of bits and pieces for Transformers, older stuff. I was into Pokemon and stuff. Transformers just kind of went past me. It was never really a hobby of mine, so I don't know much about it, right? But I do know that we've sold a bunch of the pieces and toys before, and I do know people love it. It's a really popular thing, especially the older ones. So even this little construction one, this was just a construct-a-bot or something. It had some fancy weird term to it. This is a crane. Ended up selling for $10, so it's cool to sell another thing that my brother gave me. He already made a bunch of money off of the complete stuff. He just gave me the bits and pieces because he knows I like to do that, and he wasn't going to get around to it. All right, next up is going to be right here. These are tokens for HeroClix. So this one are rock tokens, ROC. So I remember when I was playing HeroClix, I never went into one of the tournaments, but I think the bigger tournament is called ROC, R-O-C. I forget what it like stands for. It's like Realm of Clicks or something like that. It's an acronym for something. But you would get, obviously they would host a bunch of tournaments. So you get a bunch of like promos, dice. So these are a lot of the little action markers that you use to put underneath the figure to show that they took an action. There's also a bunch of different like dice with their HeroClix players like to have a symbol on the 6. This has their like ROC championship. It'll have like whatever year. Let me see. This one says ROC 22 for 2022. So yeah, nothing too crazy though, just because it's kind of like custom stuff. It's kind of like branded like, hey, come to our tournament. So this only sold for $8.40. I just played HeroClix at some point, so I understand that that's what that stood for. All right, moving along, we have a lot of 11 of these laminated. I already kind of like baggied it up so you can't really see it. This is Mortem El Glorium. I completely forget what this was. These are, I think, miniature game sheets for either a board game or one of those war game miniature games. Someone took the time to laminate all of like the sheets, the stats and stuff, so they can hand it out to their players. You don't have to worry about it getting rips, drink spills, food and stuff like that. It's really fun to wield one of these rather than like a loose piece of paper that you have to be careful with. So like, I always like it when I get the laminated stuff. I mention it in the title because I know that it costs time and money for someone to do that. People usually don't do it, but if someone else does it for them and they buy it for cheap, it's great for them. This ended up selling for $15 for like some loose sheets and papers. I don't know too much about that board game. All right, there's a lot of stuff I don't know too much about today. All right, I just know that this stuff is like good when I pick it up. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 52 from this dead card game called Super Deck. It's a superhero trading card game. Has really like, I don't know how to describe this art. Very comic-y, but also like lower to the ground. It looks like a lot of like color pencil marker type of like art right here. Someone still picked up this lot of 52 for $29.99. It was the first time I got that particular dead card game. Had never saw it before, so I just made a bunch of lots and then went with it. All right, so someone knows what that is. I will show all of the cards that they're getting in the lots so they're not confused at what they're getting. It's not like completely random for them. All right, moving along is there's this company called Game Trays right here. Pretty popular board game like components, storage, and stuff. They make a bunch of stuff for board games. So before board games got super, super popular, they would kind of just, you open up the board game, you would have like a little bit of art in the middle. You had this like canyon where they kind of just throw all the pieces in. Modern board games kind of have a lot of actual like designed boxes where you can actually put it away without just chucking it into the box. Some of these games have thousands of pieces, no joke. Some of like the newer games. I'm not talking about like the war games with those like little chits. I'm talking about like the Elder Scrolls Betrayal the Second Era board game that literally has like over 1,000 pieces. If they expected people to chuck it in the box, that it would be impossible to set up. Everything would get damaged. But beforehand, before board game companies started making their own component trays, there was companies that started, like this one's called Game Trays. That's just their brand name. They would start making stuff so you could then actually put their trays within a box and they would like figure it out how you can neatly put away games. People love to store their board games pretty well because like I said, it's painful to chuck everything in a box. These are just little small ones. They sold for $7, but I keep an eye out for that stuff because people still, just because modern board games make the containers nice to put everything in, people still need to pick up these side companies to fill out their old board games and organize them. It's a pretty extensive world, the board game world. All right. I kind of make my own crafty little ways to store games within boxes when they don't come with their own storage. Moving along, we have these. It's a combo order. These are a bunch of the GHQ World War II micro armor. Like I got a bunch of turrets and I got a bunch of the holes, like these little bases. I couldn't really identify them. I like set them all out on the table like a month ago. It took me a couple days to list most of them. I still have some more to go through. I just basically did the like turrets with like turrets and then the like holes with the like holes. So like someone picked up these 2 packs for $15 total. So it's probably the turrets that mix with the base. So like I couldn't identify the tanks, but people are still buying them. All right. Get a lot of messages of people trying to help me with them, but it's hard to keep up. I've been listening to other stuff and going back to like fix these ones when I can't identify them. It just takes a lot of time. I will eventually get to it. Next up is going to be another piece that my brother gave me from Bits and Pieces. This is a GoBots command center, like one of the clasps windows. I'm not even sure what this is. I just did Google reverse to figure out what it was. This looks like a piece that could pop off and then someone wants to complete their set. So this ended up selling for $10.79. It has a lot of like dusty, scratchy to it. I did my best taking pictures, but yeah, someone's going to use this to complete their toy, their vintage toys. People lose a lot of these pieces. These like Transformers, they have a bunch of bits and pieces. It's easy to lose them. It's easy for them to not have survived like 20, 30, 40 years. All right, next up we have the old Wishing Well. This looks like an actual custom RPG book. Wishwell, sorry, Wishwell. Right, sorry, right there. This literally looks like clip art, like back in the day. You have like someone's like picture here and a bunch of little like images of just random fantasy and girl and stuff like that. This one was signed by the person who made this. In the inside cover, it said number 35 out of 50. As you've seen before in the channel, I like to list up stuff that's signed. Even if this is not like a super popular person, someone took the time to make 50 of these. So that's pretty cool. People like to collect all sorts of role-playing game stuff. It sold for $15. It is something someone can use and enjoy. All right, moving along, we have two of these, Castles and Crusades. I've sold this Castle and Crusade stuff before. It's a D20 system. I believe it uses like Dungeons and Dragons rules. These are going to be like little adventure booklets. They never sell for too much. Repeat buyer, this went for $16.19 for the pair. So yeah, fun little adventure booklets that someone's going to use. I get these particular Castles and Crusades a lot. I don't know more about the Castle and Crusades, but I just have picked them up and sold them before. All right, next up is going to be a combo order. It was 3 different things. So it's all of the War Machine, particularly the Crix faction, which is kind of like the robotic skeleton, Terminator type of faction right here. So you have a bunch of these tokens, acrylic tokens. These are official ones. They picked up these 18. This is by a different company. So this is by Privateer Press. This is by Gale Force 9. And then these... Someone actually, I bought a little collection and they actually had this cool, this container is pink, it's clean, it has all the stuff sorted in there, so I just kind of listed it kind of like that. This is also the Gale Force 9 tokens right there. So they're used for within the War Machine game where you pick a bunch of points, you lay out your army, and then these show like every little action, little spells you do, how much action points your characters have. I do really well with the War Machine and Hordes tokens. Like, I'm always surprised. This ended up selling this whole lot, $41.22. One of the best things that I've sold for today. All right, moving along, we have Cool Miniatures or Not. This is specifically Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game. Really long title. This is Holland Reed right here. This is me, an individual hero character. This one, I got a little collection from these. It is a Game of Thrones game where you pick a faction and then you go ahead and battle someone. There's also like cards and a bunch of dice, and there's like the trays the characters go on. So this is without the special cards or no tray or anything, just a hero, $7.19. Got like a small collection in an auction. First time I got that stuff, I knew people liked it. I know Game of Thrones is kind of hit or miss with people these days, but yeah, I'm in the profit for that particular purchase at the collection at the auction. All right, moving along, it's been a while since we sold magazines. We used to sell a ton of magazines. I think the shipping has gone up on a lot of this stuff because magazines are pretty heavy. Once you get to usually 1 or 2 of them, you have to go do like a pound or more. These are World at War, just some kind of like military historical type of books. We've gotten these. I don't think these ones come with games. They could. It says the Strategy and Tactics of World War II. Strategy and Tactics are these magazines that also come with like games inside of them. So we've gotten this World at War, less frequent than the other ones, but they still sold for $12. So it's cool to finally get like another magazine sale. It's been a while. All right, next up is going to be a Lots of 5. So I just posted a video, I think it was Saturday, of me going through a huge box of miniatures, bits and pieces. If you haven't watched it, it was pretty cool. It was fun to go through. I took you guys along for the journey with it. Normally it takes me faster to go through it, but these were in the video. These are 5 bases. They were by a company called AEG, which does board game stuff. But I forgot at the time they actually had a Legend of the 5 Rings, which is like a samurai kind of game. They had a miniatures game. So these are actually bases for the miniature game. There's 5 of them. This went to a repeat buyer for $8.99. This is actually going international, so that's pretty cool. So Legend of the 5 Rings is kind of like a niche thing, but when someone likes it, they end up getting a lot of stuff. There's a lot of cool like lore and stories to it. There's a bunch of board games, card games, miniature games. I completely forgot about that one. It's called the Clan War. There's a bunch of different clans. It gets more in depth there, but I've been rambling enough, so we're gonna go into 2 more things. The last thing that sold is Conspiracy. Another music CD. I'm not sure why the CDs and magazines and books started popping off and some of my other stuff was not popping off, but yeah, don't know anything about this one. Sold for $15.71. This one is interesting to me because I listed this when I was still living at my parents' place. So like this is an old listing, but to get $15 for it is pretty crazy. That was one of the first. I listed like 60 of the CDs when I first got the truck full, and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to take a long time. I think right now we have like, I don't know, 50 or 100 left to list. I'm just waiting for more of the CDs in the particular bins to sell. So then it's heavy to carry, and I don't want my shelf to break. I don't want the box that the CDs are stored in to break. So I want to sell like another 50 or 100 slowly as you see me sell them slowly to eventually then finally finish up the CDs I got many years ago at this point. All right, last thing I want to talk about because I like it a lot, and I'm going to try to do this in a minute or less. So 1 second. Sorry, I have to get up here. This is the collector's edition, so don't worry too much about it. This is Cartographers. Really cool board game. We played it yesterday twice. Annetta won both times, so I'm going to show you guys. Like I said, I'm going to try to go through this quickly. So you end up right here. These are like the maps. You get a sheet. It's going to be kind of like a Yahtzee type of game where you flip over cards, and then you have to fill in stuff, and then you're going to have different goals. There's also different maps like that. All right, so how to play the game is you're going to go through 4 seasons, and then each turn, one of these cards are going to get flipped over like this. It tells you which type of color you can write in, and then like the shape, like the Tetris shape you have. You're doing all of this to work towards a goal. You're a cartographer. You're kind of trying to appease the queen. She's giving you these edicts. These are little edicts. This one right here is like a forest one. It tells you that you want to have like a group of forests, not next to a village. That one's called Deep Woods. There's a bunch of these edicts that you have to work towards. Also, throughout the game, you're going to have these monsters. The monsters are a lot of fun. Annetta does not like the monsters. You actually get to swap over sheets with someone. You get to kind of mess up their goals by drawing in these monsters. This one's a Ratman Strike. And then, yeah, you're doing this for 4 seasons. Each season right here tells you how much time you have for the game. The cards tell you how much time passes. And then when the time's up, you score this. So this is like A, B. This one says B, C. All right, you do all that. You count up on the bottom over here your points for the 4 seasons, and then whoever has more wins. I think first game I got 100, and then I got 110. Next game I did better. I got 107, but she did even better and got 112. All right, love the game. It's really good. We played the Cartographer Hero expansion. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Have a good one, everyone.